What's up, everyone? CommScope out of North Carolina. They manufacture network infrastructure equipment. They've been hit with ransomware by Vice Society. We're going to get into it right now. All right, everyone. Brian from Exact Cybersecurity and IT. Welcome to another video where we talk about, this time, another pretty major ransomware attack, and I'm going to get into why that is here in a few minutes. But Vice Society has leaked CommScope's employee data stolen during this ransomware attack. Hackers have published sensitive employee data stolen during the CommScope ransomware attack. CommScope told TechCrunch it discovered unauthorized access to a portion of our IT infrastructure that we determined was the result of a ransomware incident. Located in Hickory, North Carolina, CommScope manufactures network infrastructure equipment and employs more than 30,000 workers. Customers include hospitals, schools, and U.S. federal agencies. CommScope ransomware attack leaked extensive employee data. The article goes on to say that Vice Society ransomware group listed the network infrastructure giant on its data leak site and included a link to the stolen employer data. The data leaked included internal documents, technical drawings, and employee data containing extensive personal information. The leaked employee data included full names, email addresses, postal addresses, scans of passports and visas, and social security numbers and bank account details. Some employee data was unencrypted, giving hackers enough information to craft compelling phishing attacks. CommScope said it launched a forensic investigation assisted by a leading cybersecurity firm and notified law enforcement authorities about the incident. However, the network infrastructure giant has yet to confirm if its internal documents and employees' data were leaked on the dark web as reported. They said they're working with third-party experts to validate that claim, but you can go on the dark web yourself and kind of see this stuff, so I don't know how much they have to work for somebody there. So, article goes on to state that it remains unclear on how many employees were actually impacted by the data breach. But as it said, I mean, yeah, we have a problem here with businesses just in general getting hacked and having their employees' information spread on the dark web. This is going to become a huge problem for businesses in the very near future. It is kind of already. It's just under the surface. We're going to start to hear a lot more about this, and I think people are going to demand that employers do a better job of protecting employee information, because, man, if there's one thing that hackers are going right for today, it's employee information. It doesn't matter what company you are. They know if you're a sizable company that they want to go after and put a ransom demand on, you're probably going to have employees. Seriously, they're going to look at a company that has like one person. It's a sole owner company. They're not going to really mess with you. And I'm not saying you're never going to have to deal with ransomware or some kind of business email compromise or incident, but to see something like this is really not going to happen in most cases to a one-person company where they're going to extort you over your own personal information. It can happen, but this is the more common scenario that we see, where bigger companies get hit and then they go after the employee data and put it all over the dark web. And there's just thousands and thousands of data points now on the dark web being sold that's legitimate employee data of this same data set, licenses, passports, all kinds of personal information, where these criminals are going to start monetizing this and stealing people's credit. So I advise people all the time, take your credit in your own hands, make sure your credit's locked, use a service like LifeLock if you will, but even basic services like just locking your credit file is kind of a default these days. Everybody needs to go in. I'm actually a proponent of the credit reporting agencies making credit files locked by default at this point. I think a lot of people need to start demanding that from these credit reporting agencies, but I understand that, you know, they're going to fight that because it's going to slow down business, because people actually have to go in and unlock their credit file when they apply for credit. They can't just, you know, go to a website and fill out a form and get credit in those cases unless they've already gone in and unlocked the file. So I know it's not going to be a popular idea, but I think that that's where we need to go. So in the meantime, that's not the case. Take it into your own hands and lock your credit file, because there's just so many businesses getting hacked these days, and ones that we know about, ones that we don't know about. Keep that in mind. And your employee information is more than likely out there if you've had any kind of data breach in the last 2 or 3 years. So moving right along, the other problem that I have, or the other issue I have with this attack is its network infrastructure. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, their clients are hospitals, schools, and U.S. federal agencies, which happen to be, wow, probably the three most targeted sectors by cyber criminals. And now you have technical drawings, internal documents about how this equipment is manufactured and made. That's a treasure trove of information for a group of hackers and cyber criminals that want to figure out how to exploit network devices like this and firewalls and things like that. Firewalls are basically your one thing that stops hackers from getting through on the internet to inside your corporate network. They're pretty important pieces of equipment. That proprietary information about how those things work and how potentially they may be exploited and what vulnerabilities can be gleaned from this information. It's going to be interesting to see what happens down the road here, to see if anybody can take any of this stolen data and start creating havoc against these networking devices that this company manufactures. So that's the big threat here. This could be the start of a supply chain attack. And then just also remember that one of the other things that we're seeing a lot of with these ransomware groups is a lot of times they use the ransomware as like a false flag, or to kind of get you to look over here, like get all your attention onto the ransomware attack, when really they're doing something else. And that should be a big concern here. And this is definitely something that I hope the cybersecurity firm that they brought in is absolutely advising them on and looking at. They really need to look at if any of their infrastructure has been compromised, or any of their code base or any of their firmware has been compromised in any way that could potentially put a backdoor in the devices that they're manufacturing, or some other backdoor that is being put in place on this company's network. So this is kind of breaking news. They just announced this. It is April 28th, 2023. If you guys know anything about what is happening over at CommScope, love to hear about it in the comments. But remember, you have to protect your employee information. These supply chain attacks, and this is going to probably turn out to be a supply chain type of attack where customers of this particular brand of networking equipment is going to have to probably patch some systems and things like that. There's a whole slew of things that are going to come out over the next 6 to 9 months around this, and it's just the beginning. So companies out there, you got to start taking this stuff seriously. This is another example of a ransomware attack. There's been a massive amount of ransomware attack here in 2023. They don't seem to be slowing down at any pace, and here we are, Vice Society leaking CommScope employee data on the dark web, and it's the result of a ransomware attack here on April 28th, 2023. We'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.